And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey everybody, I'm Tom Vasel, and today we're taking a look at a game called Shikoku. Now, Shikoku is a game that has a weird premise. Everyone in this game is going to the pagoda, but you're trying to seek the middle path. No extremes. You don't want to be the first person in there like, hey, I'm here first. No, loser. You also don't want to be the last person. What's up? I got here late. Also, loser. In this game, you want to be second or second to the last, and it actually can handle up to 8 players. You're going to be playing cards trying to outthink everybody else. Here's how it plays. In this game, each player is going to be given a color card. That's the color that you are. You'll have a matching pawn that's going to be moving up this track going to this pagoda. There's also a deck of cards that's numbered from 1 to 33 and has a certain number of steps on each one. When one player reaches the pagoda, the game will end. So let's say the game looks like this. At this point, the players who win is the second player and the second to last. So here, green and yellow would win the game. So you're not trying to be first, you definitely don't want to be last, you want to be second or second to the last. So how does this work? At the beginning of the game, there's some mantra cards that are going to be placed at the top of the table, and these different pawns are going to be placed on them. So then these cards are going to be rearranged so that they're in numerical order. So the red player is going to go first. And each player, when they place, let's say red player plays this card, will place their card on the pawn that's down there. So green plays this one, yellow decides to play this one, pink is going to play this one, and purple plays this one here. So each player has played one of these. We now rearrange them so that they are in order like this. Now, each of these players is going to be moving up the number of footsteps that's shown on the card that they played, except for the person who is second and second to last. They don't move at all. So the green player will move 5 steps up, the yellow will move 5 steps up, and the red player will move 5 steps up. The other 2 players do not move. We then take this card and we move it all the way to the end, the first card all the way to the end. That person will draw a new card from the top of the deck into their hand. So they're going to get another card. So here they get 19. Everybody else, well, starting with the purple card, will pick one of these cards that was played the previous round and add these cards to their hand. Once everyone's taken a card, the remaining card is discarded. This then moves up here, and we'll start another round where players will be playing cards, etc. Again, all of this is for players to be moving their pawns up here. That's the whole game. Once any one pawn gets up here, the game will end, and I already told you, second and second last are the winners. So overall, the game has nice looking components. You have these cards here to help you keep track of your color, and you have these 2 meeples here. Moving up on this board, it's a nice cool looking board, but it's a little easy for pieces to get moved around on it, and I didn't find these steps. Also, this part's yellow. What does that mean? As far as I can tell, it just means, hey, you're getting close to the pagoda. The cards themselves are very nicely done. They have these different numbers on and a different number of steps. So, you know, there's not a lot of components here, and honestly, the components are probably a lot smaller than this box could fit. You know, everything's going to kind of easily rattle around in here. But yeah, for the most part, the components are okay. Now, this is not the first game I've ever played that you don't want to be first or last. It's an interesting concept, being second or second last. Although, if you're playing 4 or less players, only second place wins. Second last doesn't get anything. There's some unique ideas to the game. Having that line of cards, playing a card there, and you play them one at a time, so you're watching what everyone else plays. You know there's only 1 through 33 in the deck at all. You've seen what cards have been played, what cards are out on the table. Each card has a different number of steps on it, which I'm still not sure how they decide how many steps are in the card. So do you want to move? This turn I don't want to move. Maybe I do want to move, but just a little. Maybe I want to move a lot to help catch up because now I'm in last place. There's a lot of ideas going on. It gets even more crazy the more players there are, and in fact, I wouldn't recommend it with 7 or 8. That's just too many people. Also, it takes a really long time before you play a card. So there's a little bit of this fiddliness as you move these cards around, and there's a little bit of intrigue. You look at it and go, well, that's pretty cool. Problem is, at the end of the day, it's so weird and different. I don't know, though, that it's fun. I don't know that at the end of the day that you really make decisions, because you'll say, I'm going to play the 16. Ooh, let's see what everyone else plays. You really don't know what cards everyone else is going to play, and you might end up moving, you might end up not moving. You're also kind of restricted with the cards in your hand. When you take a card, I can take the 1. I know for sure that I will move on my next turn if I play the 1, because nobody can play lower than me. So there's some interesting decisions to make, and I won't say that it's all luck, because it's not. It's just that when the game's over, it's like, ooh, you outplayed me? Maybe? I'm not sure. And sometimes a weird, interesting idea works, but isn't necessarily a game that I want to come back to. And I think that's what's happened with Shikoku. I don't want to play it again. Now, I didn't dislike it. It's fine. I mean, maybe you could talk me into playing it, but I feel like I saw it. I saw the neat idea, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. But it wasn't gripping. It wasn't something where I was like, ooh, I want to come back and race you again this time. So if you want to play something that's different and unusual and kind of like, hey guys, I don't think you're going to find many games like this because of just how you're putting the cards there, manipulating them around and trying not to be first or last. But at the same time, when you play the cards, you want to be first or last, but not always. So if you want people to see something different, you bring this to the table. No one else has this game in your game group probably. And that's kind of a cool thing to do. But for me, again, I'm kind of looking for the game that I go home and talk about the next day. Shikoku, I'm mostly talking about for this review. Dice Tower Judgment, interesting and weird.